Sanghamitta day. So very much in Sri Lanka, very respected Sanghamitta theory. And wherever we are, I think especially for ladies, it is good to think of her and her courageous movement, right? Getting into a ship by herself, going to faraway land where she has never been in that ancient time, right? It's a bold action. And what it says is that her father did not like to send her, because normally fathers like the daughters, right? And he didn't want to send, but she insisted. That's how the story says. And because of that bold action, what do we have today in the world? Bhikkhuni Sasana. That is the beginning. That was the beginning. And from there it went to China. From China it went to Japan and Korea. And whole Asia, I believe even, I did not hear in Thailand, but Thailand we had a relationship for a long time historically. Sri Lanka and Thailand, they exchange. Somehow that early Bhikkhuni Sasana in Sri Lanka disappeared in 11th century, somewhere around 11th century, after 11th, maybe. So, but which started from the same root, we still have in the world. So anybody, if they like to bring it back, if we are not biased, we can bring it back from China. So they still have it. Because of sometimes maybe we think in Theravada tradition, perhaps maybe thinking, they do think, we have no right to do it. One point, one logical statement. The other one could be, that is Mahayana and we are Theravadas. Without studying, one can say it, but if they do study, they do have same principles, and only geographically they did change their attire. That's all what they change. So if they like to wear that same style, they can do it, otherwise they can do it differently. So in that sense, we are very lucky. World is very lucky. Dhamma is existing. Now the matter is that if we teach the Dhamma or not, right? We have to think, how much are we teaching? How much are we eager to learn? So that both sides. Not only the teaching part, we also as students, we have to think about, are we studying and practicing it, right? We have a lot of things added afterwards. Some are not really, as Buddha taught. But it could happen, because time-wise, it has now 2,500 years ago this started. So it happened to not only to Buddhism, for anything, any organization could change. Corruptions come, right? As it spreads out, time to time corruption comes. So that happened after Buddha's. We know that how Mahasanghika began, that's 4th century, around 4th century, but only after 200 years after Buddha's passing away. That's the reason why the Venerable Mahasangha, senior Arahants, they got together and they decided to preserve it for us. Dhamma is here because of their effort. After Buddha passed away, in 3 months after, the first council came to exist, so it started there. And they preserved it. From that onward, we still have this Dhamma. So at that preservation, that council, what we have today in early Buddhism, so these 3 Nikayas currently we exist. We are fortunate at least for us to have that much of Dhamma. Maybe there could have been a lot more. What happened to them? couldn't gather them, right? Couldn't collect them. So we don't know. But however, we must be satisfied with what we have, and they are very precious, very valuable, and we make effort to practice. So, what I decide, I'm not going to go into more details on Sanghamitta's story because you have heard. You were with the Venerable Subhagya, and she was explaining the Bodhi trees. We still have it here, and we have its very precious, valuable object of veneration. So in Sri Lanka, as in all Buddhist countries, they do have it. So that is how we, from her coming to Sri Lanka, we had it. And that is the most historical recorded book, recorded tree. If there's any tree in the world today, there are older trees, could be. There are huge, huge trees in like Redwood City in San Francisco area. There are huge trees, but they are not with that kind of history. So if you look at the Sri Mahabodhi in what we have in Anuradhapura, that's a very small tree, not big. There are bigger trees, but this one is still small, still that original tree, coming from where the Buddha sat down and under which he sat down and at the time of his enlightenment. So therefore, that is something very precious that we have left over for the world. And she brought it for us. Because of Sanghamitta, we have it. So, now today, we had a discussion yesterday with Venerable Chandim and myself, and in that we had a very good discussion. I don't know if any of you had a chance to listen to it, but I thought we should share it. That discussion was on monastic Dhamma, okay, and lay community. We have discipline of lay. What are they? But most of the time what you are listening is the Dhamma that you, of course, we cannot separate Buddha's teaching in such manner for the monastics and things. Yet he thought about, lay disciples, bhikkhu, bhikkhuni, upasaka, upasika. So we have, especially for the monks, there are Vinaya rules in that sense, and the bhikkhuni, they have different. And also for the lay community, yes, because lay community is living in a homely life. If everybody goes to monastery, what happen? That would never happen, right? Yes. So it's hard. He knew it's not easy. So therefore, Buddha did not stop anybody from their lay activities as a lay person. He admitted, he understood that. If he didn't understand that, he would be staying still, as he could have done the same thing like you do. But he lived in a family, but he had a mission to come to this world. That mission was with the invitation of, as a legendary story, we know that he came with the invitation. Devas invites, good time for you to go to human realm. Because time to time, Buddhas appearing in this world, so they guide us. So that is when the Buddha comes to this world, that helps us to balance this world spiritually. You remember what most of the time what Chief Reverend used to say. We human beings have two natures. What is that? Three. Human nature, divine nature, animal nature. Right? Without this spiritual guidance, we could behave. Without education, we will be like animals. That's what ancient people were like, right? But among those, ancient people, we had people with innate qualities, innate wisdom. That is how it comes to existence. Slowly, 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 that Buddha comes. Buddha is the flower of mankind. That's why, Chief Reverend wrote that booklet, right? So he guided us. So that enlightened being. So it is not just he enlightened, but he enlightened after performing virtues for such a long time. I think I mentioned whoever was here before, that 4 years plus time period he was performing virtues to be the Buddha. Right? And he became enlightened being to serve the world. Compassionate action. He was compassionate being. So, after realizing it, so he was teaching. But remember, sometimes there's a huge group, sometimes only one person. Sometimes just looking at one person but huge group, he was teaching. You can see that many occasions that's what he did. In that teaching, at least one person benefited. At least one person benefited. Or the whole group could have. There are certain occasions, whole group benefited. 500 became an arahants. That's how he says. Right? Who are those people? Those are the people who have been practicing as little by little, improving themselves, adding those virtues, improving those qualities in them. We know when we read those stories of venerable, monks like Sariputta, Moggallana, all these different stories are there. Read them. It's not one lifetime story of any of those. Many a times that they have been performing these virtues and they became, enlightened beings. So, I decided to talk to you about Patta Kamma Sutta. Simply, this is for lay, how as a lay person live. What should be has been done. It's a very interesting story. There are many. There are Sigalowada Sutta, right? And Mangala Sutta, right? And Parabhava Sutta. All these are for us to, as a lay person, how can we correct ourselves? How can we practice Dhamma? So we learn from it, little by little, we add into our lives and we perfect ourselves. So it is coming to, spiritual path. So many a times, even the monastic, what he taught to the monastics, he referred to this. He mentioned that this is how it is. So even this particular discourse, I mentioned just now, Patta Kamma Sutta was taught to his disciple, lay disciple. There are 2 chief disciples were there, Anathapindika and Visakha, right? They are the 2 lay supporters, great supporters that he had. So he was teaching them. One day, this Anathapindika comes to him and start conversation. That's how many occasions how Dhamma talk began. So here it says, as usually they come and then pay respect to Buddha and sit around, and that it begins. Here it says, Chattaro me gahapati dhamma itta kanta manapa dullabha lokasming. That is what I have here for you. So desirable, agreeable. 4 things that there is in the world and hard to get, hard to achieve. So Buddha says. So while I'm talking, if there's anything that please raise your hand so we can discuss. I don't want you to just sit and listen. Learn. Learning goes through the discussions, okay? So, see if this is something true with you. So here he says that 4 things are very important things. So Buddha says, this is called Gahapati Dhamma Itta Kanta, desirable, agreeable for you. May the wealth come to me by legitimate means. Righteous means legitimate in the sense of, he says, righteousness. It's not something unusual, not something inappropriate, not by stealing, right? Not by deceiving someone. But whatever righteous manner, it should be coming. Buddha was telling to him. It says, it's very hard to get this. Because it says when it's, describing this, he himself, sweating himself and using his own energy, physical energy, he goes and work hard and earn this wealth. So that is righteous. If you are cheating other people, could it be righteous? No. Cheating is not something, approved by any spiritual person. I don't think that any tradition, spiritual tradition would be doing that. Not only Buddhism, others also. Nobody is encouraging for anyone to cheat and steal, and take it by force. Sometimes people can take things by force. Many things happen by gambling and things like that. They are not righteous. You can start a business like having all these, casinos and things. We cannot say those are righteous. So, the person is wishing for righteous. By righteous mean, may I have wealth? We all need wealth, right? Financial, material-wise, we all need it. How can you live your life? How can you support the Sangha? Suppose now as a Buddhist, even to take care of the Sangha, you need wealth. But it should be something righteous, not the other people who would be blamed to you. Seeing it. So if you do, in the, what do you call this? Eightfold Path, we have Samma Ajiva. Is going to be in that category, remember. So right livelihood, dealing in arms and weapons and anything poisonous or even poultry, farming. So these are not, approved by the Buddha. Though they are not part of right livelihood. So the person, this devotee, to Anathapindika. Anathapindika was somebody who is, what did he did? Anybody knows? What was the Anathapindika's job? Merchant. And what I have learned also, that he was a money lender, banker. In today's language, he was a banker. I hope he was righteous in that sense, You could have, legitimately you can get some interest, not too much. There are people who are making opportunity, they really charge people a lot of huge interest. So I don't think that because he was one of them. Because as a supporter, he was taking care of all the monks for a long time. His mansion is not far away from where Buddha was living, from Savatthi. It's nearby. So every day, his mansion was open to Sangha. So there it says, many a times, 500 monks were feeding every day. And also that he became very poor at the end because maybe he lost his interest in his business perhaps. Want to dedicate more time into the sasana perhaps. And after having got wealth by legitimate means, may the fame come to me together with my family and my teachers. That's the second thing. Very agreeable, desirable by anybody. Once you make yourself known, you want to, everybody to know about you. You can see that today's society too, right? That's how we are. That's human nature. Once you hard working, you make money, you became visible person. So that visible person he was desiring for, I should have a good fame. Not just desiring for that he is working, in the society. So he come to know about it. So he's desiring for my fame come to me. May fame come to me together with my family and my teachers. So bringing respect to your family and to your teachers too. So that is his second wish. Number 3. May I live long, keeping alive for a long time. Isn't that what you hear even when you come to temple? May you have a long life, right? Sukhi Dighayu ko bhava. Even that's come from Buddha's, teaching. Live long life is important. Without any sickness and diseases, right? In good health. So good health also something that we wish, together with long life. And third wish is, when my body breaks up after death, may I be born in a good place, a heavenly realm. Isn't that our wish too? Isn't that your wish? All of us, I believe. So this is a wish that all of us have, especially as a lay Buddhist. This is not something that new. It's not Buddha says himself desirable and agreeable. So he sees that. What is human mind is. So did he say no to this? No, he did not. He did not. He knew human mind, human beings like to enjoy their life. He never said no. So as a lay person, so he encouraged, live peaceful life, happy life, and do the right thing. That is what he did. But most of the time, these are basic things that we have to learn and practice in our everyday life. So we know this, and in the regard to vocation-wise, always what we do is, what we have to do is wealth towards the wealth. So what you do, you have to improve your understanding, your knowledge, your skills. Those things definitely you have to do. Without that, you will not be able to build up this kind of life. You can desire, but desire is only a desire. You keep burning yourself, right? Yearnings and burnings could be there because you didn't develop necessary skills. So therefore, education is important. Working hard is important. If you are a person who doesn't want to have education, but you must have skillfulness, craft, knowledge of doing some things. So with that, definitely you can become, we can earn wealth as you wish to have. So therefore, Buddha encouraged us to. See now in Mangala Sutta, Bahu Satchancha Sippancha. So he says, so you have to improve your understanding, knowledge, education, Sippancha, all this kind of craftsmanships that you have, skills, you must develop. Then you can earn your living and you can have a successful living. So therefore, Buddha encouraged and also he said that be energetic, right? Be determined. As I always remind you, role model is the Buddha. Those perfection even help us to improve our everyday life, to be a successful person, whatever the field you are. If you are determined, you can do it. You can achieve your goals. So therefore, Buddha's statue is always reminding us that those perfections are helping us. Not only for Buddha to be Buddha, but for all of us to be successful in our whatever the vocation, whatever the profession that we are in. So therefore we all have to work hard. So in Pattakama Sutta, he is reminding us this, remember. Now, for four things desirable, agreeable and hard to get in the world, so we saw that. And then, there are four things leads to get them. There are four qualities are leading to get this, come, achieve those, four conditions. Saddha Sampada means what? What is the word that most of the time you use? Saddha Sampada. Faith. But in the terms of faith, when you hear it, it's a blind faith. Right? In the teaching, according to teachings of the Buddha, that Saddha is confidence. Great confidence on the Buddha's awakening. There used to be a time that people asked, is that real? Was there a real person called Buddha? Kind of, suspicious attitudes people used to have. Even in the West, there may be still, because they don't know. You have learned so much about Buddha, you have been to those places on pilgrimage, so therefore most of us in the Asia part, we have heard about him. But part of the world, they don't know anything about him. Currently, they are becoming little by, they have become fortunate because through the internet, they have an opportunity. They hear about the meditation. They're still reluctant to practice. They are scared of. Because conditioning is so strong, people don't want to go away from what they are in. Insecurity feeling is there. Yet, they are coming aware of it. Saddha is confidence. In accomplishment in faith, it's when noble disciple has confidence in the realized one's awakening. Then what do we do? See, when we are realized, when we are confident on him, we say, Itipiso Bhagava Arahang Samma Sambuddho Vijja, those 9 qualities. There are so many discourses. When they hear, that's what they heard. Oh, whenever he went to a new place, people heard about him. That is what they heard. This is what we heard about him. I want to see him. They come and just watch him, listen to him. You even came to know that there are some Jain tradition, remember? That like Upali, Bodhiraja, Prince Bodhiraja, they came. They were coached by their teachers. And they came to argue with him. Because their teacher coached him, okay, go and ask these questions. See if he's true. So at the end, what happened? He ended up being a disciple of the Buddha, whoever came to him. So they built up this, after listening to him, after seeing him, so his serene nature, peaceful nature, so they become very attached to him. So that's a beautiful word, saddhati tathagatassa bodhing. They believed, they were accepting, they trusted his enlightenment. Seeing as he was, present himself, so when they came to see him, really he was something very special. So with that specialty, with that serenity, that people start listening to him and making effort to follow him, his teaching. Then it says, second one is said, Sila Sampada, virtue. So, noble disciple, Buddha explained, Khatamacha Gahapati Sila Sampada. So, many a times, remember, these are very simple things. What you have learned, what you always say when you come to temple, or at even your altar, in front of your altar at your home. What do you say? Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami. And then we say, Panatipata veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami, right? These are not just statements. They are part of our life every day. Panatipata pativirato hoti. The person who is following the Buddha, who has a saddha or the confidence on the Buddha, he is staying away from killing or harming any life. When you do that, can you be happy with that? Definitely you can be. You should be happy. I'm very happy today because I did not do any harm to any living being. Every day you can reflect on it. Buddha says it. Think of for yourself. That's called anussati. Your own practices. You are very happy of your practice. If you cannot be happy of your practice, then you are doing something wrong. Right? If you ever regret about things what you do, you are not doing the right thing. So therefore Buddha says, stay away from such action. Do the things that you can be happy of. Of course you can be happy, enjoy doing bad things too. But he did not encourage it. Results are going to be bad because anything that you do, the results are coming after you. Right? That's what we have learned. And we have seen it too. So therefore, Buddha encourages us not to do such things. So remember, those 5 principles are the principles that for you to practice in your everyday life. Don't think that ignore this, or this is not something. No, these are the things that you have to perfect yourself. Once you do, stay away from any of these things. Once you do, you can always be happy. You can always be sharing that blessing. That's a great blessing. Great skill. You can be happy. I never steal anything. I never lie to anybody. I never harm any living being. I never get intoxicated, violated that, principle. And also remember that I always remind, with the lying, I always say that even we have to control ourselves. Our emotions are so strong sometimes. We lose our patience. Remember, patience is one of the virtues. Perfections Buddha did. Okay? Therefore, if you just put your palms in the morning to the Buddha, all these things should be coming into your mind. So for today, I have to have a great, whatever you have to do, that determination to do it, patience to do it, and your perseverance to do it, and your metta in your mind. So thinking all these things, you have to start your day. I'm going to be really practicing myself. I know I'm weak I lose my patience sometimes, but I really want to do it today. So if you wish, remind yourself, resolve yourself daily basis, that helps you. That's how we should be living our life. And otherwise what happens when you go to temple, you go listen to these huge sutras, what happened to you? You get confused. Right? These are the basics. Basic we should be make perfect ourselves. Then we should be aspiring for those, great wisdom. So our great wisdom is, once we understand this is going to be our great wisdom. That's good enough. We must be satisfied. Like most of the time what we do is, other side is greener, right? What we see on the other side, that's better. So then you think, passing this, you may be vague. We try to jump into that level. It's hard work. Then what happens? What is left with you? Your frustration, right? But if we can make ourselves perfect in this 5 area, everyday life, that's the simple life that you always can be happy. I'm happy myself because I make my good effort to practice. I'm living according to Buddha's guidance. Can we make ourselves in that? We should be able to. That is the Dhamma that we are practicing. This is Dhamma. Sila, virtue. So noble disciples, not killing, not stealing, not committing any sensual. I always, 3rd precept, I translate as because looking at one word. I'm not going against what Buddha taught. Buddha taught, that kamesu miccāchāra as adultery. I see that. But also can see that overindulgence. Remember, kamesu miccāchāra. Kamesu is plural verb. So, 5 senses. Seeking sensual pleasures, we can overindulge. Buddha did not say not to indulge. He knew. That's how human beings are. But do not overindulge. Overindulgence could be, crossing the line. We should not. That's what it says. Clinging to too much into those sensual pleasures. Remember, we are operated by 5 senses. Nothing else, right? Only 5 we have. With this, we are creating a world. Isn't that true? Isn't that how it's happening? So therefore, we have to manage. We have to control. Not to be a slave to this, but go with, moderation. So this is what Buddha said. Even for us, he said, Bhojanam hitamattanyu. Especially, he was reminding to bhikkhus, Bhojana, what you eat, you have to be mindful. Not to be too greedy. Not to eat too much. If it is too much, it means that you have gone beyond the level that you should be. So, he was guided us in very carefully in this, so that way we can let go. We can maintain ourselves, manage ourselves. Number 3, sorry, I have wrong spelling there. Chaganusati. I put 2 A's thinking that A become A, right? A become A. Chaganusati. Chaga sampada. Chaga is charity. Chaga, we all do practice. What is the difference between dana and chaga? Dana and chaga. Dana we give, right? Give away. So giving dana, maybe we aspire, we wish, as we were reading before, may I be able to be rich perhaps? Because you are giving, normally I have heard that. Yesterday morning there was one gentleman who was wishing, may we and all that friends who are coming here to participate in this dana, may they have good health, may they have happiness, may they be success in their whatever they are doing. Such, it's beautifully he said, even though none of you were, I think many of you were not there at the time. So he was one gentleman who comes every day to offer dana. So he wished for everybody. Very legitimately he was doing that. In chaga, chajjati iti chago, to giving, gone away, to eradicate your holding, chajjati, let go. So chaga, you have things, you give it away. So noble disciple lives at home rid of the stain of stinginess. So that is what he is doing. Noble disciple who is a practitioner, making effort to rid of stain of stinginess. We all have. Sometimes there are amount we can give. Certain things we cannot give. But we have to dilute our mind. Because he said, in one of the discourses, he reminded that we promise always not to steal, but he also said in another sutra, stealing is not, not killing is not enough. We must be able to share with the others. We must be able to support for those other beings to live. So then we can be happy. Because what we are collecting is not going to be with us forever. That may be sitting here. We may be desiring. There used to be many people during the Buddha's time. There used to be millionaires who didn't use any of those millions that he collected. Only after he's gone, people came to know that. One day, King Kosala came to Buddha during the noon. That's inappropriate time. So Buddha asked him, why? In this untimely manner you was rushing here. Oh, Bhante, I just came from such and such place. There used to be a man, he dead. And I went there to bring his valuables, treasures, millions, gems and silver and gold, they all. When we are looking at it, that man even did not eat anything. He didn't wear as a millionaire. He didn't use anything as, in such nature. What happened? So this is what you do, become greedy, and you do not spend them, use them. Paribhoga sukha is not there. Paribhoga consuming, you didn't consume. What we earn, what we, collecting wealth, we must be able to use. Some people cannot do that. Hard. So therefore, it's without being such, so noble disciple lives at home rid of the stains of stinginess, not to be like that, but to, getting rid of, polishing your mind, sharing what you have. That's how he does. Freely generous, open-handed, loving to let go, committed to charity, loving to give and share. So, that ability, there are, among you, I so amazed sometimes the way that you are taking care of the monks, taking care of the others, how you are every day participating in. I was so amazed, with some people's ability. That's a great skill. So great skill that you have without holding back. You do what you're happy with what you have and what you are sharing. So that is Chaga Sampada. Then Buddha asks, what is Panya Sampada? So, what is the problem with Panya here? When your heart mastered by covetousness and immoral greed. So sometimes people have desires so strongly. Abhijja domanas, abhijja, strong. I think that's the word that Buddha used here. Yes, abhijja visamalobha, he used the word. Visamalobha. When we are desiring for seeing another person's wealth, we strongly desire for it. And when that happens, what happened to us? We do what we are not supposed to do. Seeing somebody else's wealth, we become too greedy. Having greed on that, we do unwholesome things. So many. That's what Buddha says in the sutra. So we must, noble one, the person who is practicing, he knows this is not appropriate for me. This thought is very dirty. So he himself thinks so. And I should get rid of this. So if we know the Dhamma, then we do that. If you don't know the Dhamma, they don't know it. They continue to grow in that, cultivate that negative desire. So you become very impure. Your mind is becoming more dirty. Stealing, smelling. So your actions are going to be smelling. So therefore, Buddha encouraged us to practice this. Get rid of this. Abhijja domana, there are 5 of them. I think 5 hindrances. But instead of kama chanda, this is what he says. The first one is abhijja domanas. Then also you have when vyapada, your anger. This is destroying us. our anger, emotions, ill will, aversion, you call it. Buddha says, whenever you see it, you have to understand this is damaging ourselves. We are doing something we are not supposed to do. Damage other people. Damaging other people means you are damaging yourself. So you must know it and you must get rid of it. So Buddha says. But the person who knows it, then he says, righteous person. Remember now he's coming from righteousness, right? He did not wish anything harmful. He was righteous man, he was desiring for. This is the person who is in the path. Then he says, he let go of that vyapada, that aversion, thought of aversion. How can we do that? What is the method to do it? Anger, to get rid of anger, what is the opposite practice? Metta. See, therefore, I always encourage, I always remind that Metta Sutta, read it in English. Pali, if you read it, would be nice. You can recite it nicely. Melody, listen to the melody and keep chanting. But learn it in English. Then you have to, I have asked some people to do it 7 times a day in the one sitting. Reason behind that? That helps you. Because that sinks in your mind. When you recite it, you know what you're talking about. So then you start thinking, oh, this is what Buddha says, I have to be like this. See, deepest level, what is the deepest level? Like a mother risking her own life to save her only child, you should be able to pervade loving kindness to all beings that you know and you don't know, that you have seen and not seen, that who are born and yet to be born, right? Who are here and who are far away. So all these things are remind yourself. So that's a great skill. I don't have it. We don't have it. But he says, you can do it. It's a hard work, but once you practice, you can develop that skill. Buddha didn't say that's something impossible. For monks, that's how he said. But maybe then you may be asking question, being at home, how can I do it? We have got time, right? Yes, but at least start doing that. Not as, even though since that very simple thing, if we set our mind, if we train ourselves, we can do it. Because simply look at it, what he says. We have long lists, sometimes our versions are different. But simply what Buddha says, Sabbe satta bhavan sukitatta. Right? May all beings have happy minds. While you are driving, can you think of it? Yes. I do recite it as myself moving around. If I'm by myself, so nothing else to do. Either I listen to something to learn, or else I recite it myself. My mind is going, it reminds me. You can do it. When you are driving by yourself. Most of the time I know that what you have is you are planning for your work. As you do it, as you are driving, you are not living on the wheel, but you are planning what I'm going to do after next, right? But if we train ourselves, all these things are the way that we, organize ourselves. But if we organize ourselves, definitely we can use that kind of time. If suppose now you are in the train, sit down and we can think of it until you get to your time. Just practice metta. This is something that we do. So we know that it's a possible thing. So you can do that too. That way you cultivate your metta mind in every day. If you keep cultivating it, you are living in it. You are sharing with the others, whoever you met after that person, suppose now your colleague is working, asking questions, you answer, and back to it. If you are not engaged in, something related to your work, you can get back to your mind, your practice. You're always practicing. Because our minds are always active. That active mind used for something very beneficial, very helpful, very spiritual. So that commitment you have to do first. You set your mind and you can do it. So then Buddha says, Vyapada. So of course when you see it, this is how you look at it. So this is going to be very damaging, so therefore I'm going to get rid of it, and instead I do practice this. So likewise, Buddha says, Thenamidda. No, hindrances. Thenamidda is our sloth and torpor, laziness of the mind and laziness of the body. When such time comes, what happens? What are we supposed to do? Get up and walk around. You know, your leta, what do you call this? Lazy nature. You know, if you continue to sit, you will fall asleep. You may feel like go and sleep. No. So we have to encourage ourselves. Pick up our courage and start doing, be active. So there's one of the discourses where Buddha was teaching to Venerable Moggallana, one of his chief disciples. He was falling, sleepy, because as he was meditating. So Buddha went and approached him and said, no, this is not the way to do it. Teach your ear, teach your nose, and just get rid of that lethargy nature. So you have to see it yourself. So wisdom, in this manner, we have to improve ourselves, get rid of those, weaknesses, weak attitudes that coming. Those are called hindrances. So therefore 5 hindrances we have to get rid of, Buddha says. Then, since we don't have much more time, so we are almost done. The 4 fitting deeds that noble disciple does with legitimate righteous wealth. What does he have to do? Now he has righteous wealth. What do you have to do? So it says, he makes himself happy. So when you have wealth, this is what you have to do. Use them, not amass them. Amassing them, what is going to go to maybe huge, chunk of gold, huge chunk of money there could be sitting. But who can guarantee? Right? We are going to benefit from that. So why are you looking at it? Use them. I always remind that, there's one beautiful story in the sutras, Velama Sutta. Young man who was a bodhisattva, Buddha himself in one of his previous lives, he says, my grandparents, they collected, maybe they used, he does not know, but still, and left for the parents, and my parents left that wealth as well as their wealth, what they collected. Now it is there. What am I going to do with this? I should find a way to take it with me. Then what did he do? Distribute. Gave away to other people. People became happy. Whatever he consumed, that's consumption for his own consumption he kept. And the other whole thing, for a long time he gave up. So he was happy seeing the happiness of people who received it. The needy people came and took them. So he makes himself happy. He makes his parents happy. Of course, you take care of your parents. All of you do that. In here we don't have that problem because many people, that's a very important thing. Once they are able stage, so they take care of their parents. That we have to do. He makes his family and friends, relatives, and colleagues and staff, even the maids who are helping you. So that's our duty. So, person who righteously earn wealth, we spend for that. So you are making happy yourself and you are making happy people around you. That's the important part. And also secondly, he says, defend against fire, flood. Sometimes fire could destroy it, flood can destroy it, and what else? Kings can take it, taxes. Government can, sometimes who knows? They come and, oh, you have so much wealth, so they are taxing you. New tax laws are coming, so you are giving. And what you otherwise, if you are not doing that appropriately, so it's making troubles. It's going to be against you. So therefore, what you do is maybe we buy insurance for that, life insurance. I think when I have my discussion with Bhante, I was mentioning that somebody who was sick, kind of in early 50s, there was somebody who was a doctor, and his wife noticed that he was forgetting. As he was going to go to his office, sometimes he forget pen, sometimes his watch, sometimes his key, office key is not taking. Noticing it, what she did was she bought life insurance. Few years later, he became sick with Alzheimer's disease. After he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, he lived 15 years after. Now imagine he was not working now. For 15 years he's not working, how can he survive? Just because of that life insurance that she bought, he was paid throughout the time for his every need, his medical needs, and also a caretaker. So otherwise he's going to, I don't know what would happen to her, because she was only person, but luckily the insurance supplied them someone to take care of, caretaker for that doctor. 24 hours he needs. So such things. So therefore it's a good idea for someone who has wealth, righteous wealth, for them to use it in insurance-like things. That's defend your protection. It's hard work. Remember, it's not easy. So then, next, furthermore, what happens? With legitimate wealth, he makes 5 spirit offerings to relatives, guests. So they are called Bali. Okay? So, Devata Bali they call ones. Pubbha Peta Bali. Atiti Bali. Guests are called Atiti. You spend that money or your righteous wealth just to make them happy. And you do think of your parents, we all do that. You make offerings. Sometimes maybe we go, children's home, old folks' home. So we know that they are in difficulties. They need someone. So we can go and just take care of them. So that kind of things. And I don't know, we are doing this spirits. In Ratana Sutta it says that Yani the Bhutani Samagata Bhumana. So they is asking, there's a Gatha, it says, please take care of all devas. Devas are invisible. So we do the offerings. At least we all do that dedication of merit. Why? Devas, they themselves cannot do, these spiritual practices or meritorious deeds. Therefore, they are expecting the merit from us. So we do nice, beautiful things and spend the day like in observing Sila. And after that, we do at the end, whole day, after the, ending the day, we do dedicate the merits to our departed relatives as well as devas. Those are, Buddha approved those things. The certain things have been doing for a long time in the culture. So therefore, he didn't stop them. Yes, take care of them. So these are with the righteous wealth, these are what he is doing. Relatives, guests, ancestors, king and deities. This is his third and expenditure in appropriate sphere of deserved and fitting cause. Furthermore, with his legitimate wealth establishment uplifting religious donations for ascetics and Brahmins, you know, that comes in the even in Sigalova Sutta. You know, they are the last category, so they pay respect and admire them. So we have to continue to do them. So therefore, this is how the righteous wealth is. As a lay person, this is what all of you can practice. This is Dhamma. So instead of getting confused with the deep Dhamma that we see, that's the philosophical ideas are there. So, but these things are, you know, in the lay life, if we keep doing these things, these are appropriate. This is Dhamma practice. You are practicing. You don't have to worry. You know, you are doing the right thing, which Buddha admired, appreciated. Buddha showed us. So, that we all have to continue our everyday life. So that misconceptions that we have, oh, that's what we have to learn. Buddha said Eightfold Path. Eightfold Path is covered here. Even the words are not there. Okay? Simple. We are learning and practicing the Dhamma, what Buddha told. If you want to go more deeper than that, you can dedicate more time and then go to practice like a monks are doing, right? Like monks supposed to practice. There are some who can do it. So I think I will stop here sharing this. That sutta you can read. That's available in the internet. Patta Kamma Sutta. Okay? A mortal person who recollects this stands firm in the teaching of the Noble One. They are praised in this life and they are depart from and rejoice in heavenly realms. So, that's as Buddha said, Buddha saw what you are expecting, what the human beings are expecting. So once we continue that we can achieve those goals and be in a nice place. Okay? So thank you very much for this morning. Okay? So we can spend, maybe in the afternoon, I heard there's a discussion time, so we can come back and we can ask questions if you have any. So thank you. Let's do the dedication of merit devas. May all the devas rejoice this wholesome practice. May they attain ultimate bliss of Nibbana. And may all our departed relatives, and especially we have to think of this, today facilitate our Sasana Buddhist Vardhana Society, Devotees Management Committee, and including the chief, everybody. May they be well, happy and peaceful and successful in their lives, successful in their services. And may they all and may we all attain ultimate bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you. So questions could be later time.